there everyone, and welcome to Andy Shed Live. This is Series 10, episode number 14, for Sunday the 20th of March, 2021. Hello there everybody, welcome to the show. It is 20th of March, it is Sunday, we are back with you once again. Another, sorry, choking on my tea. Another Andy Shed Live here once more. Just log into the chat and things while people arrive and start to appear. Jimmy's not with us tonight. I've had a message from Jimmy. It says he's going to a barbecue tonight, so enjoy your barbie, Jimmy. Oh, hang on, what's happened there?
This is the Mr.
Oh no, that's the wrong thing. I've got there. There we go. That's it. I think we should be there any moment. Yep, there we are. That's it. Right, are we on the top live chat? No, we're on the top chat. Switch it to the live chat so I can actually see what's going on. That's way better. So who have we got? We've got Dominic here, we've got Wesley here, and we've got Christopher here this week as well. So evening all. Dominic says, how's the boat restoration? It's going alright, Dominic. The boat is I've not been to it for a couple of weeks actually. I've been waiting for a friend of mine to root out some bits. He'd got a tow hitch and some mudguards for its trailer that I actually got hold of yesterday. So this week perhaps I might be going there to see the boat. Hopefully we're going to see the boat this week. But all sorts been going on this week. The saga of the electric car continues. Been looking at more electric cars this week. Will one of them actually get here is the question. Who knows at the minute? Who knows? But yes, the electric car saga is continuing, as is the saga of the radio station, which has taken a bit of a back seat over the last couple of days or so, shall we say. Are we in really low resolution or something tonight? Things look a bit strange tonight. Let me just have a little... Oh, what's happened there? It's my screen that's gone all low resolution on me. I thought that looked odd. Just bear with me a second. I'm just going to try and restart this. Just hang in there a second. Right. I think we're back. I think. I've made it. Right, am I back on? We'll find out in a second. We'll see if I start moving again. Yes, I do start moving again, so I am back on. Excellent, brilliant. Right, yeah, sorry about that. I had a few technical issues. Everything wasn't really pixelated here. I couldn't sort of see what was supposed to be on the screen, and that all went a bit strange. But while I've been away, Miguet's joined us. Hello, Miguet. So we're all back in business now, I think. He says he's having problems with his Wi-Fi, so he hopes it lasts out. You know, it's internet service provider. They must not have got enough hamsters running around in the wheel tonight. Right, what have we got tonight? What have I been up to this week? What have you all been up to this week? Of course, let us know in the chat. Me, basically, it's been a fairly, well, electric car buying is a very stressful process, let me tell you. That's all I'll say about that for the time being. But in other news this week, the other thing that's been going on is more of these blooming things. Yep, more trim phones, more trim phone handsets for repair. I have got a lot of them for repair. These three are basically pretty much done. These two need a bit more work on them, but they are such a terrible design, trim phone handsets. So you get so many broken ones. Really, really poor design. But I have, because I've got so many of these handsets, I have now found there are some differences. Spot the difference. Can anybody spot it? There's definitely a difference between those. No? Right, I'll tell you. This one has got a strange little black plastic rivet here to hold this metal piece in, which is actually a bit wobbly. These have it glued in and no hole. But some have it glued in but do have a hole, and you can see the remnants of the glue here. But they have a hole but no rivet. And this is the only one I found that's not got a hole in that plastic bit. So I don't know if this is an early one or whatever, because these handsets haven't actually come with the rest of the trim phones. I've just got all the handsets to repair, but that one is pretty much okay. I think that one needs work because it's got a bit of plastic missing just there. See, it's not actually broken, that one. They normally break across here. Actually sometimes snap completely in two, but there's just a little bit of plastic out of that one there, so that one will need a bit of plastic building up there, and this one is still not perfectly smooth here where I've rebuilt it, so that one needs a bit of work. But these three are basically okay. And when they've had a bit of polish with a bit of Brasso or something similar, T-cut or something similar, then they will be going back to their owner to be refurbished into a kind of modern version of a trim phone. He's refurbishing them into something that he's calling a Snowdonia, apparently. So that's what's happening there. But there'll be more information about that when they actually get done and actually get happen, and then you will be able to buy them. So watch out for that if you want a very unusual trim phone in the near future. Right, what's everybody up to in the chat? Donnie says another video on the pendant phone would be very interesting. I've not seen that many about. Pendant phone, the thing that's just a handset on a little bracket sort of thing with the separate dial that sort of bolts under your desk. Is that the one you mean, Dominic? Wesley says, I've got a 713 on its way, but like Andy's old video, I don't have a bell set 48 or 50B. A 713. 48 or 50B bell set you want, do you? Right, I'm just having a little look, see how that can be done. Just a second. Boom, 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 boom. Right, yeah, the 713 is the pendant, isn't it? Yeah, that's the one I thought it was, yeah. Yes. Now, the one of those that I made a bell set for, I actually made the bell set. What did I do? I made it out of, what did I do in the end? I think I made it out of bits of a 746 and bits of a bell set. I think, I can't remember what I did now. But I figured the bell set required for those pendant phones has to have all the telephone gubbins in it, so things like the induction coil and that, because there's nothing in that pendant handset, there's nothing in that bit it hangs on, you know, it's too small, or very little in it anyway. So you have to have what is basically most of a 746 in a box that looks like a bell set. That's what you need. And you also, if you want to dial out on it, need a thing called a draw dial as well, which is a dial that fits under a desk. You actually screw it up under the edge of a desk. Like on this desk, you would fit it under the edge of here, and it pulls out in a little drawer, and then you dial, then push it back again. So that's a draw dial, and they're quite hard to come by actually. They're not easy to come by. The dial that's in them is just a dial 21. But actually getting hold of a draw dial is not easy. But the thing is wiring them all together, because you've then got to wire the phone handset unit basically to what is the main part of the phone in the bell box, in the bell set, and also you've got to wire the dial separately as well. So you need a lot of wire, and the way to do it is using 4-pair telephone cable, which has a blue pair, an orange pair, a green pair, and I think a brown pair in it. I think they're the right colours. And it's hell on earth to wire. It's really complex. I did that video of it, didn't I? I did that video of doing it, but it's not an easy thing to wire up. And then you've got lots of bits of wire all over. Don't wire it up until you're going to install it somewhere, is what I will say about it. Because if you wire it up and you're not going to install it somewhere, you've got all kinds of spaghetti hanging around and that. It's not an easy thing even just to pick up. So yeah, I'd say wire it in place. But it is doable. It is doable, and I did it, and there is a video of me doing it. If anybody can find that video, we'll stick the link up to it. Let me see if I can find it on my own website. Let's see if I can find my own video on my own website. Shall we? That should be good for a giggle. Alright. Right, it was Series 6, episode number 2, where we did the pendant phone. Apparently, that's what it's telling me. Yeah, series 6, episode 2. That was the one with the pendant phone. So that's going back a while now, isn't it? Crikey, that's like ages and ages ago. But but it did work first time as well, pretty much. So yeah. Right, what it says, I think you did a video showing it done, but it was you showing it completed, and you said you would do another one showing how to do it. Right, okay, yes, so I didn't actually video the doing. I probably didn't video the doing of it because the doing of it was quite complicated, as I say. But yeah, I'll get round to that then. I will get round to that. It's up in the loft somewhere at the moment. I'm not exactly sure where it is. I think it's in a box somewhere because there was so much. Like I say, there was so much spaghetti with it. I put it in a box somewhere, I think. But I will dig it out and show you what I did. But it's quite complicated, and I believe there's a big junction box as well involved in it. I think there's a big junction box involved as well. Where is it? Let me have a little butcher's at it and see. What I did. Oh yes, I see now. I had it in bits. And yeah, I had the draw dial. I had I had it wired into a phone at this stage. Alright, I'm looking what I did. Trying to remember it. Right, so yeah, I have the cable diagrams for it as well, which were a bit of a nightmare, if I remember right. No, so there wasn't a box involved. I'm just looking at it now. There wasn't a big junction box involved, I don't think. But there was a lot of wiring in the bell set. And there was this cable that used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It used 9 cores of a cable. By the looks of it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it used 9 cores, I believe. So that would have to be 5 pair, wouldn't it? That would have to be a 5 pair cable, I think. Yeah. Anyway, it's Series 6, Episode 2 of Andy's Shed Live, if you want to go back and watch that one. And there's a candlestick phone on that episode as well. So if you want to go back and watch it, that's the one with the pendant phone. So all this talk of pendant phones, does this mean somebody's got one? No, he meant to say he thought one of the trim phone handsets looked like it was slightly wider at one end. No, I think it is a trick of the light, Dominic. I think they're all the same. They did use trim phone handsets at one time, unlike control boards and things, unlike in like NASA mission control type places that look like that. You know, if you had a desk like all computers and that, you could have a trim phone handset on the equipment on the desk. I think it was basically desks of telecommunications equipment manufactured by STC, because they made trim phones. They put trim phone handsets on them, I think. But yeah, I have seen trim phone handsets used for other things, not attached to trim phones. Wesley says, I think you used a transmission circuit from a 746. I did, Wesley. I did. I originally wired it up to the chassis of a 746 phone. And then I realised that the later bell sets, the sort of ones from the 70s, from the 60s and 70s, basically had a very sparsely populated circuit board that was basically the same circuit board as in a 746, but with a lot of the components missing, because it was just a bell basically. So I took the complete circuit board, I think, out of a 746 chassis and put it into this bell set unit, to make the bell set basically a more or less complete telephone to use with this pendant phone. I think that's what I did. It's a long time ago now. I've had a sleep since then. Dominic says, on bell sets, would the bell set 26 count as the longest lived item? It started in the days of the candlesticks, if you count the 25s, and outlived the GPO itself. Well, it didn't really outlive the GPO itself, because they were later bell sets around then, which was the one I've just been talking about, that had basically the circuit board out of a 746 in it. Although some of them no doubt are still in use. But yeah, the bell set 26 was around for a while, wasn't it? I just wish some of them were still 25s with the induction coiling, because then I could use them for candlesticks. Because there's candlestick phone restoration. Well, I'm going to do an episode about the candlesticks and about Bakelite phones as well, in the near future, or I might even do a standalone video about it, because the Bakelites, you don't see much of the Bakelites on here normally, but I have got one or two of them, including one down here that I forgot about till last week, that's under the desk here. Well, it says, I've got one in its way, Andy. I want it for my garage and use it in conjunction with an 80D bell. What, candlestick? Is that a candlestick you've got on your way? It says, I've seen the BR film with some STC Delta phone handsets fitted to a signalling panel at what I think was Derby Power Signal Box. Yeah, quite possibly, because STC did make signalling equipment and stuff like that. So yeah, that's more than likely, shall we say. But yeah, they certainly had trim phone handsets not attached to trim phones for other equipment that STC and its subsidiaries made. Because STC was a big company at one time. But as with a lot of these old telephone companies, there were lots of mergers. They took over certain people, then other people took over them, and then they merged together, and it gets really complicated. The STC history is quite complex. Now it says Bob Freshwater's site seems to indicate that there were 26s being produced up until 1983, but I'm not 100% sure. I would have thought that was unlikely, that there were 26s being produced up to 1983. They may have been producing covers to put on them, because there is a later plastic cover that fits on them to replace the Bakelite cover, so they might have been doing that. So yes, but no, I can't imagine they were being produced up until 1983. Yeah, sometimes, although Bob Freshwater's website is generally excellent, sometimes errors do creep in, purely and simply because there's so much information on it. You know, and it is somewhat reliant on people giving him the information. There's so much out there that was the basis of his website, but it's been added to over the years as people have given him information, and it's all kind of put out there in good faith. But I think sometimes time plays tricks on the mind, doesn't it? And I think sometimes he's been fed a bit of duff information that's got on there. So don't necessarily take it all as 100% gospel just from one source, because it might not be entirely correct. Well, it says, I've got a Cell 1-2 trim phone with the clip on earpiece. Let me get mentions. The clip on earpiece. The clip on earpiece on a trim phone. I'm not sure about that. I'll just have to go back to the chat and see what he said there. I think I missed that bit. Oh, I think he said the early trim phones did not have a screw. They were just held by a clip. The earpieces. Do you mean the screw that goes in there? Is that what you mean? Because the early ones, I think, had a screw in the top there, didn't they? I think they did. Somebody on here's got an early trim phone. Who's got an early trim phone? If it's not Dominic, I think it might be Jimmy. But somebody's got a very early trim phone on here. Oh, Wesley says he's got the 712 trim phone with the clip-on earpiece. Yeah, because that's a 712, so that's an early one, isn't it? So the 712 trim phone is an early one, because all of those are 722s, aren't they, the later ones? I think all these that I've got here, as far as I'm aware, I did ask, and and as far as I'm aware, these are all 722s. As it says, on the early 712s, there's also 712s with a plastic screw from the rear. As it says, he thinks his GEC 746 comes off the railway. Could do, Christopher. Could do. But it's technically not a 746 if it's a railway phone, though. Although GEC may have called it a 746, but it's technically not a GPO 746, let's say. Dominic says he's got an early trim phone, but it's an early 722, not a 712, unfortunately. GEC phone. Christopher says, I've sent a photo of an Ericsson GEC phone on Australian Railways, a Woodwall phone with 746 handsets, and has seen a lot of UK phones on Australian Railways. Yeah, I wonder why. I suppose Australian Railways are probably like railways in other parts of the world, India being a good example, that were kind of built by the British in the colonial days and would have had all British equipment, and that's probably carried on quite, until quite recently. Because if you go to certain places in India, you still find old-fashioned sort of British-made tablet machines being used on the railways and stuff like that. Miguel has the early trim phone. Yeah, he's the one with the early trim phone. I think somebody else has got one though as well. I'm fairly sure Jimmy's got one. Yeah. Early trim phones are very, very rare. You don't see many 712s around. I don't know how many they made, but I have a feeling it probably wasn't very many. But you very, very rarely see them. Mostly you see 722s. So, anyhow. So, what have we got? What has been happening? Right, just having a look, see what's in my pile of stuff here. See if there's anything that I've not shown you yet. Oh look, more trim phone handsets. I tell you, I am like getting buried under trim phone handsets at the moment. There's just so many of them. It's unbelievable at the minute. Properly buried under trim phones at the moment. Properly buried under them. Right, that's test lead. So, things that have arrived recently. This green, this green 746 rather arrived. This is a nice one because it's a Mark 1 case. But this is one I think this is one that came, parts of it came let me get this right now. Parts of it were sent in to me, and parts of it I had, and I put all the bits together, and we managed to get a more or less complete phone out of it. But we've not actually tried it yet, so I think tonight might be the moment where we try it, because I found my test line cord out that I use, so I think we might give this one a trial run tonight. Alright, let me get rid of some of these trim phone handsets, because like I say, I'm buried under trim phone handsets. That's 4, 8, 11. Just on the desk at the moment, and I've got a load more to do. So, alright, now they're out of the way, I've got a bit more space to operate, sort of thing. So, yes. Could do with a bigger bench. So, there we go. Right. Let's take the case off this and give it a whirl. Oh. And again, no spring on the screw. There we go. That's what's on the inside. So it's not actually been converted at all, this yet. Oh, hang on, it has been converted. I've converted it, but I've not put the resistor in yet. Now, have I got any knocking about here, or are they all outside in my toolbox in the van? I think there should be some kicking around here somewhere. Bear with me one moment. Oh, one moment please, as Big Clive would say. Does anybody here watch Big Clive on a Saturday night when he does Big Clive Live? Big Clive being the electrical guy on YouTube. Does anybody else on here watch Big Clive Live? And if you do watch him on a Saturday night, do you manage to stay awake to the end of it? Because I never do. There is just something, I'm not dissing Big Clive, there's just something about his voice that just puts you to sleep. And because it's night time when he does it as well, and I don't normally watch it live, I normally watch it after the event as well, so I normally end up watching it about 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, I find it really, really difficult to stay awake for it. Right, where are we? I'm looking through little things now that ought to have resistors in. No. Oh yeah, there they are, resistors. I knew there was some somewhere here. The famous 3.3 kilo ohm resistors. And I buy them in like a big long thing, like a going machine gun. But loads of them. I don't buy them 6 at a time from these very expensive eBay sellers. Definitely not, no. Don't be silly. Buy your resistors about 100 at a time at least. You'll get them much cheaper. You'll probably buy 100 or maybe even 500 resistors for the same price that you'll probably pay for about half a dozen on eBay. So go to a electronics site to get your resistors. 3.3 kilo ohm resistors are what you want. So here we are. Put the cable back over there a minute. here we are then. Here's the resistor. And you've seen me bend these before, but basically I bend them like that. And then I bend them sort of like that. And then I bend the bottom bit both around the same way, so that, what have I done there? I've done that wrong, haven't I? Yeah, I bend the bottom bits both sort of around the same way, so that when you do the screw up that you're putting them over, or under rather, the screw doesn't try and push the legs out. So T4 and T5 are the ones that we loosen in the phone, and I stick the resistor under. Now this is assuming you've got 500 volt bell coil, 500 ohm, sorry, bell coils, which I have on this. I know these are 500 ohm coils because it says so on them. But if you've got 2000 ohm coils in there, you do not need this resistor. Just put a link in there, because somebody asked me about that a little while ago, so just thought it was worth mentioning to anybody who wasn't sure. So there we go. So that's the resistor in. All the rest of it is wired up as it should be. So now I can put my test line cord on. So red goes up to T8 stroke T9. Which is there. White goes to T16, 17, 18 and 19 that are all joined together. I will just stick it on T18 because it's the easiest to get at. Yep. And blue goes to T6. Again, you could put it on T5 of course, because T6 is joined to T5, but the resistor's already on there as well, so that'd be rather a lot all onto T5. But that's it, that should do it. That should work for test purposes. So I'll even put the top on the phone. I'm that confident. I shouldn't have said that, should I? I should never be confident, because when I'm confident it never works. We know this by now, don't we? So we'll put the top on the phone. We'll do the thing where you kind of put your fingers in the dial, pull the dial up and forwards and the top back, and hopefully the top will go on without having to worry too much about it. Yeah, that's sort of on there, I think. Right. I'll put my little screw back in, just so I don't pick the phone up and it all falls apart, because that's what I'm likely to do. If you've not got the spring on this screw and you've not got the little retained nut thing on this screw, do not put it in too far, because if you put it in too far you'll never get it out again. You can go like beyond the threads of the screw and it's a nightmare when that happens. This doesn't want to line up either for some reason, but it's there, I can see it. That's it, started it by hand. Just very lightest of touches to do that. And now that one should, says he, should be working. So shall we see if it does work or not? Right, I will, got to move things now to find a socket to plug this into. Well, one moment please. While I'm plugging it in, I'll put a few things away as well. Bear with me, I'm just getting an extension lead that's all raffled up. One extension lead, now I've just got to move some boxes so I can plug this into the revelation, which is down on the floor in this corner here and very difficult to get at because of where it is. I ought to have it in a better place really. Right. So I'll stick another phone on the desk at the same time. How about that? How about those two side by side? They make an interesting pair, don't they? Right, I've now plugged things in, so I've done that. Right, this socket now, which I can now get at, this socket here, should now be 23 on the revelation. So, if I switch you to the other camera, and we plug my grotty test line cord into there like that, yes. Then if you look that way a bit at that black phone there, hang on, can you see it? Yes, right. Now dial on this black phone, 23 on the green one should ring, and it does. Something weird going on here because there's no life in the handset. I'm doing the thing where I have blowing one and listening to the other, sort of thing, like that. Right, does it? There's the other. Interestingly, no. Doesn't ring. What's happening there then? Right. Something is not quite right here. Let's take the handset apart. It's there, it's wired up. And it rang, didn't it? Well, the handset appears to be not working. This end wired up. Yep, that end's wired up as well. Right, let's do it again. Pick up the black one, dial 23. Rings. Switch up. Ah, I see the switch hooks were sticking down on it. Right, let's take the lid off it again and see what happens when we take the lid off. Right, hang on, there we go. Have I done some sort of schoolboy error? Oh, Gambo's joined us. Hello, Gambo. It says hello, everyone. Hope all's well. Working late on a Sunday till 9. Right. Take the lid off that. Right. What am I doing wrong here? Is there a mistake being made? Dead as a dodo, that. Right, let's. It's not got a little thing to. Oh, it has got a little thing to hold it hook. Down. I think. How's that work? That's it. Right, the hook is held down now. So, ring it again. Momentary dial tone then. I think it's this. That's attenuating too much. These little things here, I normally don't fit these because you can't hear the clicks and whirs and things that you might want to hear when they're fitted, so I normally take those out, and I'm taking that one out so I can hear what's going on. I wonder if it's a dodgy line cord or something. Right. What have I done wrong here then? Come on, somebody will spot it, I'm sure. Oh, I've spotted it. I know what's wrong with it. I know what's wrong with it. I'm being an absolute fool. I remember now. Got this phone. We had this phone on a few weeks ago, and I remember there's something missing in it. There's no dial loom. Nothing's connecting the dial up on it. Oops. So that's why it don't work. So yeah, dial's not connected up on it, and I don't think I've got one of those looms to hand close by, so that'll be one for another day. But yeah, so that's that one then needs the loom that goes up to the dial. So I will now take my my cord off. Ought to have unplugged it first, really, didn't I? Just in case it somehow rings and I get a fair few volts down through me. So yeah, I'll take my test cord off there, like that, and it needs a dial loom. So we will put the lid back on it for now. Oops, that was me dropping the screw. Hang on. Right, so I have to get up to do it because it's awkward because the finger wheel's on. I don't really want to have to take the finger wheel off. Now let me move this one out of the way. Right. The 500 is out of the way. Do that. Pull the dial forward, push the case backwards. And if you do it all at the same time, you know what I'm going to do now, don't you? I'm going to swear about this GPO design again like I normally do. There you go. It's on with a great struggle. Well done, GPO, for designing that case to fit like that. Not. So we'll stick the screw back in for now. And we'll endeavour to remember that this phone needs a dial loom fitting to it. Okay. So yes, that one needs a dial loom. Right. Cool. Right, so here's another one that arrived the other week. This time we are topaz yellow. This time. Hang on, just knocking things over and stuff here. So yeah, and this has got the box still on the end of it. Right. Again, no spring. Right. So this one's nothing has basically been done inside of this at all, except for there's been a link put in there. Now, Christopher has a way of putting the resistor in the box here, but he's only using a 2-wire system, I believe. So here's your box, and on this particular example there's no jumpers in the box. Oh, there is a jumper. It's a little piece of white wire there. I don't know if you can see that. Oh no. Right, I see. White and green are together on there. Yeah? Alright. So it's blue, white and green, one with nothing connected to it, and then red. There. So what we want to do, really, is we want to separate the white and the green in the box here. So I'll take the white off that terminal there, and I'll stick it on the next one along, because this is one, of course, with 8 terminals in for 4 separate connectors. Some of these boxes only have 6 terminals, 3 connectors. So that one, which is a bit cruddy actually, that terminal, right? I'm going to give that a rub with a bit of abrasive paper, because it was looking a bit greeny, bluey, oxidey, that one, wasn't it? Just a little rub, and we'll stick that on there, like that. So now, what we'll do is we will attach my test line cord to that box, and it's all same colour, so it's same colour to same colour, so red to red, white to white, green to green, blue to blue. Well, we're not actually going to attach the green one, because we're not going to use the green one anymore. So red is going on there, like that. White is going on the one next to it, like that. green has not got a connector on the end of it yet. That's a cut wire, the green one. So I will just try and wrap that up. Oops. Lot stay wrapped up because it's not actual paired cable. This, so the paired cable, which is like a single solid conductor, it stays where you put it. The blue goes to blue on there, like that. Then at the phone end, we just alter it. Working on the cable colours. Now this is the wrong sort of grommet really for these boxes, but that's good because this box hasn't had the end cut out for a second grommet. It's not had that knocked out. I don't really want to knock it out, so because like the original drop wire would have just come in sort of under the edge of it like that, not to a grommet. So of course you don't have to have strain relief on the drop wire, of course, because the drop wire is held in place generally. So that is that. So now at the phone end we've got to do various things at the actual telephone end now, of course. So white is in the right place, red is in the white place. What we've got to do is we've got to remove that link between T4 and 5 because I've got 500 ohm coils in this one as well, and it's really hard to get these screws out. These haven't been out for a while. So that link that's in there between 4 and 5, we can ping that one out, and we stick that in now between 17 and 18 because 16 and 17 are already linked together, and 18 and 19 are already linked together. So 17 and 18 are already linked. No, 16 and 17 are already linked, and 18 and 19 are already linked. But 17 and 18 are not linked, and we need to link them. So we end up with 16, 17, 18 and 19 all together. Crikey, screws! Who put these screws in? Gosh, a bigger screwdriver would help, but they're all in the back of the van at the moment. I can't be bothered to go outside in the cold and the dark to fetch one in. There we go. So we can now hopefully just shove a link in there underneath those. Like so. I will not tighten them up quite so much as they were. And then where they had green going down here, we want blue to make it how things normally are. So like there, we take that green off of there, and if I unravel these, you'll see a bit better what we're doing, probably, like that. So this green here, I untwist it all a bit. Green is now we're not going to use because we didn't connect it up at the box end, remember, green, so we'll park it on an unused one where blue is currently parked. So we just swap those two over. Now, so blue goes on to 16, 17, 18, 19, into that set there. And green parks onto 15, right there. And then I need another resistor, and I need to take a link out there between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, between 6 and 7. God. Ah. No, I pulled 2 links out that. You've got little fat fingers like me. This is not easy. Right. So they're out now. Thing is here. See, these have really been. These dial things have really been wired up. Not really where they ought to have been. And that's it. Got at it now. Right. I normally put the dial connections in, so the wire goes off the top side. It just keeps things out of the way a bit more. Right, I need another one of those resistors that I've just put away to go in there, don't I? Yes, Sandy, you do. So then, when I have found a resistor out of this box, go. There we go, one resistor. We'll then see if it all works again. So once again, bend your resistor to a shape that you like. Like so. Don't know if you can see that or not. and then fit it into your electric telephone. What have I done here? I put that back in the wrong place, haven't I? Because that's the one I meant to be taking out. So you should have that link going between T5 and 6 and no link on T7 now. Put your blue wire from your line cord now wants to go up onto T6 with that link. So stick all that in together. And then T4 to T5 has a resistor because they're 500 ohm bell coils. So a 3.3 kilo ohm resistor in there again. If I got a pound for every time I've put one of these resistors in, I'd be a rich man. And there we have it. So that is now theoretically ready. And then for some reason that I've never figured out why they do it, they sort of cross the two sets of cords for the handset and for the line cord. They cross them on the grommets there. I've never figured out why, but that's the way it's normally done. Then of course you end up with a spare link, which you can just put back as a second link underneath another link in the phone if you want, just to keep it safe. But I tend to take the spare ones out because sometimes I get phones that need them. So now this phone should work. So what have I done here? Right, so I've connected the phone with the cord, the yellow cord, to the yellow box. Then my test cord here goes into that extension that I found earlier, which is here. That goes into there, and I've heard that click as I plugged it in. Yeah, I've got a dial tone in there. Now, if you want to simulate a phone being on a hook with the lid off, there's normally a little catch somewhere, and it's here, and you can kind of push that down, push that catch up, and then it holds the hook switch down. If I let that catch go now, see the hook switch comes up again. So that simulates being on the hook. Yeah. So I'm getting tangled up now, not to worry. That simulates being on the hook, so I can now dial with my trusty black phone, and we'll see what happens. And it rings. So if I now get that thing to go off hook, there we go, it's gone off hook now. So this is where you blow into one handset and listen in the other. So blow into the yellow one, listen in the black one. Yeah, I can hear that. Blow in the black one, listen in the yellow one. Yeah, I can hear that. So that is working. A little bit of noise on the line, but what do you expect, a 50-year-old phone? So 40 or 50 year old. I'm not sure how old it is, this one. I've not looked on the bottom. Right, anyway, there we have it. So that now is basically another one working. Actually, that circuit board feels a bit loose. Is that screw that holds it on and down? Right, it is now. Right, it's a bit dusty inside this one. You probably noticed. It could do with a good old clean up on the inside. The way I do it is quite simply a paintbrush, and you can just dislodge the dust with the paintbrush. You'll probably not get it out, but you can just dislodge it and then just blowing it, and you can get most of it out that way. So I think we'll put the lid back on this one and we'll call this one operational. And again, it's a nice Mark 1 in topaz yellow. Now I reckon that is probably one of the rarest things, a Mark 1 in topaz yellow. A Mark 1 746 case in topaz yellow. I reckon that's about as rare as rare. They say Concord blue is the rarest colour, but all I can say is I've got more Concord blue phones than I have topaz yellow ones. There we go, that's that. Put the little screw back in, again without a spring. I wonder if they did these deliberately without a spring in latter years as a cost saving measure. There we go. Does it still work? Yes, it does. Can I dial from it? Well, we'll see, shall we? We'll go 21. Oh, got to pick it up like a fool, haven't I? 21. It does. So there you have it. I put that down that way just for John Markham. Of course, it should be that way. Yes, we know. We know. Don't write in. We know. So, there you go. A nice topaz yellow phone there, all back together and in one piece. Right, I've rather neglected what people have been saying in the chat while I've been doing all this. So I'm going to scroll back on it a bit and have a look what everybody's been up to. Oh, Ed's Studio Workshop has joined us in the chat. Hello there, Ed's Studio Workshop. It says he recently got back into collecting these GPO phones. He's actually spent the last 3 weeks buying job lots of these things. You do very well if you can find job lots of them these days. You certainly aren't as many turning up as did. Yeah, excellent, Ed. Send us some photos. In fact, why don't you join up with the forum? Do you know about the forum even? We do have a forum, which is here. It's gpotelephones.proboards.com. Actually, I have a feeling that might be wrong. It might not be www. It might be https rather than www. But it's one or the other anyway. gpotelephones.proboards.com, and you'll find our forum there. It's free to join up to, and you can upload photos to it as well. So that's ace, isn't it? Right. So let us know what you've got, Ed. You might have got some interesting things there if you bought job lots. Wesley says, Penfold hasn't been on for a couple of weeks. I hope he's okay. Yeah, me too, Wesley. Yeah, he has been missing for a couple of weeks, hasn't he? But he does go strange places and that, doesn't he, Penfold, occasionally? So maybe he's away somewhere. Wesley says they're very industrial looking crimps on that line cord, Andy. On my test cord. Yeah, I don't know where it came from, that cord. It's just a bit of cord that happens to have some fork connectors on the end of it. I don't know where it came from. It'll come out of a bag of cables somewhere. But I just use it generally now for testing phones, because it's not got the right strain relief thing on it for a 700 series. It's a later cord than that, which is why the wires, the cores in it look a bit weedy, because it's a very cheap, nasty cord, really. Christopher says, my yellow Mark 1 746F dial is not working. But when I bypass the contacts, I get sound in the receiver. Right. It could be just dirty contacts in the dial, Christopher. A bit of paper. Just doesn't have to be like sandpaper or anything. Just ordinary paper will do. A good quality writing paper, like cartridge paper stuff. Just to get a tiny bit of it, cut a tiny strip of it, and just run it between the contacts in the dial, and see if there's any dirt comes off on the paper. But of course it could also be dial contacts not quite opening or not quite closing as they should. So have a really close look at what the dial contacts are doing, because they do sometimes get a little bit bent. Wesley says, Christopher, he says if you're getting dial tone, when you short the contacts, then they must be open when the dial is at rest. Yeah, but some should be open, shouldn't they? Yeah, you need to have a close look at what the dial's doing on the back. It's something to do with the contacts on the back of the dial, that I'm fairly sure of it. Well, he says it's my fault about that dial loom. I had some longer dial looms here. You did. I remember this now, Wesley. I do remember it. Don't panic about it, because I have got some here somewhere. I've just got to go and find them. Gambo says, I was going to say, have you checked those dial connections properly, Andy? No, I hadn't. Not on that green phone. I definitely hadn't. Dominic says, I've seen one of those fairly uncommon dial fitted ambassadors in yellow on eBay, but I bet it goes for silly money. Well, the one I bought on eBay, and it didn't go for silly money. I think it was a tenner, maybe 15 quid, something like that, the one that I bought on eBay. People don't know what they are, and they're a bit of they're not the traditional telephone shape, so a lot of the sort of antique dealer type people on that don't tend to buy them. But yeah, if you've seen one, I think they did them in grey as well. I think they did grey ones too. But yeah, if you can get it, get it, because they're really, really well built phones. They do have a circuit board in them that can be problematical. The one that I got wasn't working when I got it, and I did have to do a bit of tinkering about on the circuit board, but the actual casing of the phone and that, it's built like a tank, it really is. Chris says, is yellow 746 is like the one that I've got here? Yeah. Peter says about the crossing over of the wires. Possibly because most people are right-handed and dial with their right hand. So the headset cable exits towards the left hand. Yeah, but we've done this before, haven't we? Whenever I pick a phone up, right, and bear in mind I used to work on a switchboard in an office, and this is what used to drive this John Markham chap crazy, who looked after the telephones, which were mainly 700 series and some Bakelite ones. What used to drive him crazy was when I picked a phone up, I used to pick it up with my left hand, like that, but then immediately transfer it to my right hand to answer it. So I was actually then answering it with it in that hand, like that. Hello, 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 hello. And then if I had to write anything down, I just do that, and then get my pen and whatever, and hold it like that. And that's just the way I've always done it. But because you're holding it like that, it's not easy to put that down then, because you're sort of twisting your hand over. So what I do is I get hold of it with the other hand then and put it down, and of course that's what results in it going down like that, which if you look across the back is backwards. So pick it up and then transfer hands and do it that way, and then transfer hands again to put it down, you see, like that, and it goes down like that. So am I weird? That's the question. Am I weird, or does anybody else do that to pick up a phone? Evening, Peter. Dominic says, did the East Anglia Transport Museum have any telephones, and which way did they have their handsets? Good question, Dominic. These were the Cryche ones that I'm talking about here, because they had a big internal telephone system at Cryche, and their own mechanical exchange, which I think they've since decommissioned. I think they've gone boring now and gone all modern and that. But I can't remember what East Anglia Transport Museum did. I don't think they had an internal phone system. I think they had a BT system with modern phones on it, that if you rang into the museum, it rang a number of key phones in key places around the museum, and I think they could all talk to each other internally as well. But it was like a large version of a house exchange system with about half a dozen phones on. I think there was like one in the cafe and one in the mess room, and there might have been one in the trolleybus depot or one in the shop or something like that. I think they had a modern system, but I would stand to be corrected from anybody who's been recently and might know. think I'm missing bits out of this chat tonight. It doesn't seem to make an awful lot of sense, some of it. I think there's some bits missing. Miguel says, does that just deal with GPO phones? Does what just deal with GPO phones, Miguel? The forum deals with all phones, and it sometimes deals with stuff that's not telephones at all, which is just interesting. But yeah, gpotelephones.proboards.com, not necessarily always about GPO telephones. Christopher says his GC746 is in use on his PBX. Excellent. Peter says many of us are on the spectrum somewhere. You speak for yourself, Peter. I had a Commodore VIC-20. If you weren't around in the 80s, ask your mum about that joke. Right, okay. I think I've about caught up. If anybody's asked me anything in the chat and I've missed it, because I've got a feeling I've got certain bits of the chat missing tonight. If anybody's asked me anything in the chat and I've missed it, just type it in again, and I'll try and catch it this time. Right, okie dokie. So that's all good then, isn't it? We've got a nice topaz phone working. It's got a bit of a suntan on the front here. The rest of it's not bad, but just this front panel for some reason seems to have got a suntan. So that's quite a nice one. It could do with its line cords taking off and cleaning, its curly cord taking off and cleaning. But it's a pretty original phone, that one, so I'm quite pleased with that one. And I might leave this this setup on it with the box on, because I have a feeling this box and this line cord is probably original to this phone. I just get that feeling about it. Right. And it does actually say GPO on it as well, the box. Cool. Right. I better try and do something with this though, because I'm getting tangled up in my own cables here tonight. Christopher says, I bet I'm the only one who has a UK telephone socket in Australia. Yeah, you probably are, Christopher. You probably are. Unless perhaps there might be a film studio or something somewhere that's maybe got one on a set or something like that. I hear you're going to have some unemployed people in Australia as well soon, because all the cast and neighbours are going to be looking for new jobs, aren't they? Because it's finishing. Apparently they can't make it just for the Australian market, because no Australians are daft enough to watch it. So, right, we shall wrap this phone up, this yellow one, which I normally do this way, by winding the load of cables around it. Excellent. Right, that's that one sorted out. That's good. So I just need to still do a bit of work on the green one, don't I? But yeah, not a bad night's work. I've had a very productive day today, actually. I've rotivated most of the garden today. Now I know some of you wanted to see the old Howard Bantam rotavator in operation. But I have got to do the garden again, so when I do it again, I'll video it. Because it was a bit of a last minute thing doing it today and I haven't got a camera handy. at the time. But yeah, I've rotated most of the garden today, and the tomato plants are in and up. The tomato plants are growing, as are the peppers. I can show you the peppers, they're just here. Peppers for the gardeners amongst you. Peppers just starting to grow. Those ones are California Wonder, sort of sweet peppers. We also have these, which are actually foot-long chili peppers, and they really do grow massive chili peppers on them, these. All just started to grow this week. But we're not growing potatoes this year, because it was more trouble than it was worth last year. Right, okie dokie, I think that is probably about a wrap for today. Unless anybody's got any burning questions or anything they want to ask. Where are we? Dominic says another go at the potatoes. No potatoes this year, Dominic. Too much like hard work growing potatoes. Too much like hard work. Right. Sounds like a good name for a tribute band. What, the foot-long chili peppers? Yeah. Maybe we should start one. Who plays guitar? What do you call somebody who hangs around with musicians? Answer, the drummer. So, oh, fighting talk. Christopher says, I installed a UK telephone socket in my bedroom for my yellow 746 Mark 1 phone. Has that got a GPO plug on it then? I would have thought you'd have hardwired that in. Like, or have you not got the little box like on the one that I've just shown? Right, I think that is probably a wrap for today, folks. Thanks to everybody who has been here taking part once again. Yeah, it's been quite good really, hasn't it? We'll be back doing something similar around about the same time, same place again next week. In the meantime, remember, you can go to the forum and continue the telephone talk and that at gpotelephones.proboards.com, and also you can find back episodes and other stuff on our website at andyshed.colepress.net. And finally, you can also join us on Patreon if you so wish and want to support the channel. It's at www.patreon.com/AndysShed. Right, when I can get the right camera, I'll come back to you. There we go. That's the one. So thanks to everybody for joining and taking part again today. Numbers have been a bit depleted today, haven't they? I think with the nice weather, I think people have been outside doing stuff. But we'll be back, all being well, next week, and we'll be doing more of the same. And who knows, I might even got the electric car sorted out by then. From me for now, have a fantastic week ahead, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.